everyone, it's just me today. If you've been following our Disneyland Paris series, you'll know that when we were out there, unfortunately the Avengers campus hadn't quite opened, but we are planning to go back and we are planning to go to the Avengers campus, and I particularly want to do the web slinger ride, the Spider-Man shooting the webs, and I thought, you know what, I need to make some ears for that. And we recently had a hobby craft open up near us, and I found some really cool material in there, which was Spider-Man, so I thought, ideal opportunity. Now, I haven't made ears for a long time, I just haven't had the chance, and honestly, this house is just full of craft stuff. It's a bit embarrassing almost, because I've got so much craft stuff everywhere. I've always been a crafter, I've always loved to do, you know, scrapbooking, making, crafting, doing all sorts, and when the girls were young, that's something we did a lot of. They're both very talented at their crafting and sewing and painting and drawing. They are brilliant, both of them. So this house is absolutely full of craft stuff, and the problem is I tuck it away in different places because I buy things as I see them. I think, oh, that'll come in handy for when I make whatever, and then I can never find it. But in the process of trying to find a few bits to make these ears, I found all these Ziploc bags of kits, if you want to call them that, of bits of material and things I've put together to make different ears. So I've got like a Maleficent one and a Winnie the Pooh one, an Aladdin one. I've got all these different, you know, Tower of Terror. Oh, I found Moana. All these bits that I've bought and thought, oh, that'd be good. And I've popped them in these bags to compile a kit, and never got around to doing them. So that's something I need to get stuck into as and when I get some time. But normally when I make my ears, I sew them. I stitch them on the sewing machine and I stuff them from there and then glue them onto the headband. And normally I buy these really tiny thin little headbands, these little thin plastic headbands, because they're children's ones, but they're very stretchy. But they're tiny and thin, and they're really cheap, and you get something like 6 or 8 for £2. And what I used to do was get them, and then I would cut out strips of foam and I would glue that to make it into a bigger headband, and then I would put material on it and so on. Very time consuming. So whenever I'm out and about now, if ever I see any headbands on sale or I see any online cheap or anything, I just grab them, and I can just cover them instead. Yeah, normally I do the sewing, but this time I'm going to try 2 ways. I think I've got enough material to do 2, but I've seen a lot of people who literally take cardboard and stick the material with a hot glue gun to the cardboard, then stick the 2 halves together to make the ears. So I thought I would try doing both ways to see which one I feel is best, or which one works the best, or which one's easiest. So I thought I would show you what I do. This is probably going to be filmed over several little sections, because I have to take Pablo for a walk in a minute, and I know he's not going to let me film for too much longer before he starts hassling me to go for his morning walk. But I just thought I'd start off by setting up and showing you what bits I've got together, and what I'm going to do. So for the material, this is the Spider-Man material that I bought, which you can see there. I think that is really quite vivid and quite cute. Don't like spiders, not keen on spiders, so not sure I like the spiders on there, but there is 1/4 metre there. Now I'm hoping that I can make 2 lots of ears and actually cover the headband with that as well, out of that material. So that's a 1/4 metre of material. I've bought some red, you can see that, some red sort of cord to go around the ears, just to trim them off. I have bought 2 lots of squares of felt, or rectangles of felt, in red and blue to make the bow, and I thought that they were just the right colour to go with that. So that's what I've bought for the Spider-Man ears. Also, while I was on my travels of looking for all my craft, I found this whole pack of Baby Yoda material that I must have bought, and some felt, and also some more to make some ears. So if I get a chance, I might make some of them as well, but they're maybe for another time. For inside the ears, to give it a bit of stiffening, when I do the sewing ones, I've got some foam, just a sheet of foam, which I'll cut out to ear size, because that's easy to bend and push inside. Obviously, if I'm doing the cardboard ones, I won't need that. But there's the foam. Obviously, you need a glue gun, trusty old glue gun, glue sticks, scissors, ruler, pen. Oh, I also found this material, which I must have bought before to make some Avengers style Marvel type ears, and there's quite a lot of material there, so I think I must have bought 1/2 metre of that one, but maybe I'll get around, and some felt, so maybe I'll get around to making those as well, who knows. So I usually use thin headbands and then pad them all out, but I found this in Primark and it was only £2 and it's all padded and done. So I picked that up, and that was ages and ages ago, and I thought, well, that will come in handy one day for some ears. And then another time when I was in Primark, I found these headbands, and there's 2 of them there, and they were reduced to £1. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so they were reduced to £1 for 2. So I thought, well, to be honest, they would be so easy to cover. So I picked them up, and they had different shades and different things. So I've got 4 headbands there for £2. So whenever you're out and about, if you see bargains like that, grab them, because you can always cover them, you can always do stuff with them, and it does save a lot of time and effort. I used to spend an awful lot of time covering the other headbands. And then I also found, and this is what I mean about me being a craft hoarder, I found all these headbands that I've obviously bought at some point. They're not padded, they're very thin, so they might not be as comfy, I don't know. But in all these colours, which I must have bought at some point to make headbands. So I think we've got enough headbands there to be getting on with. What I always do, I've got some very thin velvet ribbon here as well, which normally I will put inside just to finish it off and just to make it more comfortable when I make my own ears, but I may not need to do that on these headbands, we'll see. Stuffing, I've got some polyester toy filling for padding out my ears. And the last thing, and some of you may know I used to send my goodies and my ears and things out in pizza boxes. The reason being is a few years back we bought a pizza oven for the garden, and my daughter convinced me to come to a big cash and carry type warehouse with her one day and to buy pizza boxes so that we could have takeaway pizzas. Well, the thing is, they used to come here and they used to have the pizzas here, and very rarely did they have much left over to take away. So I ended up with 100 pizza boxes. So I tend to use them now for sending out gifts or for packaging things in or whatever I can. But these will be ideal because they're quite thick. They're not too thick, but they're thick enough and sturdy enough that I think they'll be ideal for cutting out my ears to try these cardboard ones that are glued. What I tend to do is get my pair of Disney ears that I've got, and I will draw around them to give myself a rough outline of where I should position the ears and how big they are. Now, a long time ago, what I did was I got one of the punch pocket type things, or the folders, like the clear plastic folders you get for putting all your documents and things in. I found that they were ideal because you can see through them. So I cut out one of those, and you can see that there. So I have the size of the material I want. This is for the sewing one, obviously. The size of the material I want to cut out, and then my sewing line, giving myself the margin. So I've basically, this is the sewing line here is the size of what would be the finished ear, and then I've just given myself that extra bit round. So I think I could still cut that out in material for the card ones, and then just cut down to the sewing line to fold in, and I think that should give me enough. But these are ideal because you can see through them. So as particularly if you've got like, for example, this Spiderman pattern, I'm going to want to know what the pattern looks like. So when I place this on, I can see the pattern and I can work out where I want to cut depending on where I want the pattern to fall. So it's a good idea to have something see-through like that. So I'm going to leave all this on the table now. I'm going to take Pablo for a quick walk, and then I'm going to come back and get stuck in to trying to get some of this done. So I will catch you in a moment. Right, I'm back from walking Pablo. Changed because it got very hot out there. So I've now got all my bits in front of me. I've got the ears I'm going to use as my template to let me know where to position things, and I'm going to start cutting out. What I'll do is I will see if I can put some footage in looking down at what I'm doing, but obviously I'm not very good at all this stuff, so I will do my best to show you what I'm doing as I do it. Right, so I've got all my bits together and I am going to start trying to make this now. I'm going to start with the cardboard ones that I can glue, and I will get the sewing machine out later. Trying to decide which headband to go with. Excuse if you hear any noise in the background, but Gary is back now. He may put his head in and say hello, I don't know. Right, I think I'm going to try one of these headbands first of all. So, get my material. Now I need obviously to cut out 4 of these for each set of ears, so I'm going to need 8 in total, because obviously I'm going to do 4 sewn and 4 glued. So first thing to do is to decide how I want it positioned. Now I'm obviously going to want it that way up, so I will put that there like that. I usually pin these down, but I haven't got my pins today, so I'm just going to position that where I want it. I've doubled the material up, so that way I only have to cut once per ear. Right, let's see how that goes, and then we'll cut that one out. That's enough for one set of ears. Now what I'm going to do before I cut any more is just measure that I've got enough. Just, there we go, for that. So, so if I take it from the edge and I allow a little bit of overlay either side. Right, so that is just enough there, so I'll cut that across there. Obviously this material is doubled and I only need 1 piece for each headband, so I'm going to just guesstimate around there like that. Right, so that will be to cover my headband. That will need trimming up more, but just to make sure I've got enough. So there's enough there for 2 headbands. So now I can go ahead and cut out a couple more ears. Right, so there I have my ears and my headband bits. So now I need to cut out some card for these particular ears. Now, obviously, usually when I sew, I have an idea of how far in, so I think what I'm going to have to do is cut around this, draw around this rather, and then cut it slightly smaller. That's probably the best way to do this. Oh, it might have helped you if I hadn't cut it on the bend. So if you look at my ears that I've got here, that is about the same. So I need to make it just slightly smaller, I feel. Just trim it round slightly more. Right, let's offer that up and see. That's about right. Right, there we go. So now I can use that one as a template to cut out my next one. This is all very much trial and error, and I'll make it up as I go along. But I'm sure we'll get something that's okay to wear at the end of it. Right. Right, 4 pieces of card, all about the same size. Now I'm going to get my material for my ears and place it on top like that. Oh, might help if I get it the right way around. Right, this is all trial and error because I've never done it this way before. So we'll have to see how it works. So I'm going to snip the material so that it, doing this very awkward way, aren't I? So that it fits without snagging. Really doing this in a cack-handed way. Right, I have my trusty glue gun ready. And now I'm just going to fold the edges in. Try not to burn my fingers. Here we go. I'm going to leave that bit at the bottom at the moment because I haven't decided quite how I'm going to do that bit yet. So there we go. That's that one. Now I've got to do 3 more of those. Oh joy, look what's joined me.
What's up, dudes?
Right, Gary won't wear ears.
We got there, that's what.
Right, so I will get on and do that 3 more times and I will chat to you again after. Right, so I now have my 4 ears. So I need to pair up which ones I want with which. So they're all pretty much similar pattern there. Oh, let's put them that way. Yeah, I'm not very good at this double filming stuff, but we'll see how we go. Right, now I need some stuffing. So I'm going to get some stuffing to start poking in. I mean, obviously how much you stuff them is entirely up to you as to how puffy you want them to be. And push it right to the edge. A bit more, I think. I think that's about right. So I'll get on and do the other three. Alright, so I think that's going to be about right when they're together. You know, they're not perfect, but hey, they haven't cost much to make. So, right. This material was £2.50. It was £10 a metre, but as I say, I only bought 1/4 of a metre, so it was £2.50. And it looks like I'm going to quite easily get 2 sets of ears out of that and have a little bit spare. I might find something I can do with it. The felt, the square of felt was 50p, and obviously I got a red and a blue. This cord was about £1 a metre, I think. As per usual, camera cut out. Have no idea why it does this. Yeah, so I had the pizza box, obviously. The headbands, as I've said, I picked up for £1 for 2, so they're 50p each. This filling, I bought a big bag of this. I think it was about £5 for a huge bag, but I have done virtually all my ears and all my stuff with these. I've not yet had to buy a second bag of that. It doesn't seem like there's a lot, but it goes a long way. So all in all, you can actually make yourself some ears fairly reasonably priced. A lot cheaper than buying them at Disney. However, I do love buying my ears at Disney. Now, to glue them together. And I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm actually going to, should have done that first, but it's all trial and error because I've never done them like this before. So what I'm going to do is just fold this piece up first, I think, like that. So that bit's folded up and I've got glue all over my hands. And then I better fold this one up too. And then I need make sure that they are as lined up as I can get them. And just pinch them together all around the edge. As I've said, they're not perfect. Yeah, do excuse my hair. I'm waiting for a haircut. They're not perfect, but they didn't cost much to make. And they'll do the job. So that's one ear done. As I said, this is very trial and error for me this way because I've never done this before. So I mean, these could be a complete disaster when I actually come to put them together, but who knows? There we go. Right, here we go. Try and press that down, make sure it sticks okay. Make sure your glue gun doesn't lose its glue stick. I mean, you can just buy a black velvety headband and just stick the ears direct onto that if you just wanted to do that, but I like to make things difficult. Right, I don't want this to overlap too much, so I'm just going to cut and hope for the best. I'm just eyeballing it and cutting just a little extra, like so, and the same on the other side, because you don't want too much excess material, whoops, because it gets bulky. That will do. Now, the end. Don't need all of that. Right, let's get some glue going on. And just start folding the edge in. It doesn't matter if it doesn't meet in the middle on this, because you're going to put some ribbon, or I am. You could do it so that it does overlap if you want to, so that you don't have to put anything else in, but and you could actually measure it a bit better than me as well. You could actually measure it properly, which is what I'd normally do. I'd normally actually work out how big the headband is and how much I'd actually need. But I'm doing this as a bit of a rush job, to be honest, because I am slowly running out of time for all the things I want to do. So I'm grabbing moments when I can to get things done. Hence it's a rush job. Yeah, not too bad, but the outside looks okay. So, right, now these ends, I'm just going to snip them at little angles. To tuck them in, and then just gently fold them over. Right, just make sure it's all stuck down. Now, my black velvet ribbon, I am going to place just inside like that, so that it just makes it a bit more comfortable to wear, and it hides all those joins. There we have it, your headband all nicely lined with some velvet. Right, now I'm going to put some trim around the edge of these to cover up any joins or anything in there. 2 ears, 1 headband, and a camera battery that is about to run out again. Right, I'm going to have to try and finish this super quick. Don't know if the position has changed at all, but for some reason my batteries, even though they were fully charged, keep running out really quickly. So I'm going to very quickly put my ears on, and then I might have to come back and do the bow later because I don't think the camera's going to hold out for it. So you can tell I've planned these things well, can't you? So I'm going to get my Disney ears and offer them up to this, and then put these in the position just to give me a rough idea of where I want them to be. And I'll put a little, just a little mark where I want them to sit. Right, and then I will decide which bit I want as the front and which bit I want as the back. I mean, these are pretty much the same, I think, so I think I'm going to go like that. Right, so where was the mark? I can't find the mark. I'm going to get a different pen to make it. Right, so I'm going to offer these up to this, which way I want them. On there. Make a little mark where I want them to go. So that's about right there and there, and there and there. And then before my battery runs out, I'm going to very quickly glue them. So I want them to go there. Just double checking. Right, just double checking it's there. Right. And then I'm going to put loads and loads of glue. And some on here. And press. And there we go. That's how we're looking so far. Now all I need to do is make a bow, and that is personal preference of how big you want it to be. Obviously I've got these to use as a gauge. And do I want it to be blue then red, or red then blue? I think blue for the bigger bit and red for the inner bit. So I'm going to roughly work out how big I want. I'm going to put that just inside like that and work out roughly, let's get rid of these labels, roughly how big I want my bow to be. Roughly do about the same depth as this one, so I'm going to sort of measure up, make it just slightly wider. I mean, it's a total personal preference when it comes to the bow. Some people like a really big bow, some people like smaller ones. What I should do really is I should measure this out properly and make sure I'm cutting nice and straight, which I'm not. And then I need to just make this a tiny bit smaller so that it stays in the same pattern, being inside like that. Right. Right, because this is quite thick material and I've got a double layer, I'm actually going to trim that down a bit more actually. Then I am just going to make it into a bow like this. Now, is that too big? Let me have a look. Is that too big? I think it might be just a tiny bit too big. So so I think that's about right. So now I'm going to very quickly glue my bow. So a little bit of glue in the middle. And pinch. Turn it over, a bit there and a bit there, and pinch. Right. Now, do I want to do a striped bow bit in the middle? Or do I want to do just red? And I think I want to do just red in the middle. So this up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I need a piece to go around and just be big enough to flap across the back. So let's cut that off there like that. Glue that down. Glue across there. There we go. And I find if you have a little tail left, it's a good way to attach the bow. Holding it on, I can see that there, just holding it onto the back. So now I'm going to attach my bow. I'm going to put some glue along the headband in the centre there. They'll do. What I might do is I might see if I can do on my Cricut machine a little spider to go there, but I don't know. I don't think I will because I'm not keen on spiders. So, but here we go. Here are, just take my glasses off, and here are, and hopefully they won't stick to my head, the finished article. What do you think? So these are the card ones. I am going to do the sewn ones. I'm not going to do them right now because I think I need to clear this mess up and wait for my batteries to charge up properly. So we'll do them and you'll see them. For you it will be no time. For me it might be a few hours, or it might even be tomorrow. But there we go. What do you think? Do you think these ones are okay? What I'll do if I do what I'll do is if I do the sewing ones as well, and then you can let me know which ones you think were the best to do, the easiest to do, or what look the best. I have to say that these are quite quick and easy to do it with gluing, as I say, which I've never done before. The sewing's a bit of a faff to getting the machine out and everything, so yeah, I'm quite pleased with those. They'll do for when I'm going pew 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 pew. If you can think of any way I could improve them, anything you'd do differently, let me know in the comments. But there we go. Right, catch you in a minute for the next lot. Right, so I'm back. The sewing machine is out. Whilst you were away, I very quickly made another bow. I didn't think you needed to see me make the bow again. I made the bow and I have covered another headband. So those bits are exactly the same as before. You didn't really need to see those. So now I need to find, where did I put my earpieces? There we go. So now I've got my earpieces to do the sewing. Now obviously you have to put those in the wrong way. I don't think you can, let me see if I can, that's it, right. Put those the wrong way against each other. Pop the old machine on. And what I'm going to do is sew just inside like this. So I'm going to sew just inside. So I've got a template here that is the inside of this, just roughly. So that will give me a rough guide. It's all very much a guesstimate, and I just take it roughly. So it's going to be roughly about there. And then I will just find my pedal. I'm not the world's best sewer. My mother was an amazing seamstress. I'm not the world's best sewer. My mum was an amazing seamstress, absolutely fantastic, and my daughters have inherited that, but it kind of skipped me. But I get by. So here goes. Woo. These could come out an awful shape because I'm really freehanding this. And I suppose that's the advantage of the cardboard ones, is that you've got the shape there to actually work with, rather than trying to judge your own shape. Right, let's see how this has turned out. They might be the wrong size, who knows. Right, I'm going to trim some of this off around the edge, so that it's not too bulky around my stitching. I've got a feeling that the size may not be brilliant, but or the shape. Right, so that's the excess trimmed off. Now what we need to do is turn them in the right way and see what we've got in the way of shapes. And this is where it could go horribly wrong. Make sure I... Well, that's not too bad. So let's have a look how it would fare against that. Yeah, that's okay. That's not too bad. Right, now let's see if we can repeat that with the second one. Right. Material against each other again. Make sure I've lined it up. Use that as my rough guide just to start me off. Just to give me that start line of where I need to be. I've got a bit off shape with this one. Trim round again, just to get rid of that excess material. Now for the moment of truth, I'm not sure this is going to be the right shape, this one, but let's see. I suppose the only thing with the material ones is they are slightly more kind of shower resistant, if you like, because if the cardboard ones got wet, then they could disintegrate quite quickly. Well, that's not too bad. Let's offer them up to each other and see. Yeah, they're pretty okay. They're pretty matched. So, yeah, that's okay. Right, now what we need to do is we need to cut out some foam to go in the middle, just to give them a little bit of strength. So I'm going to use this template and then I'm going to trim it down slightly. So I'm just going to roughly cut round. So I've got that, and then I'm just going to fold it in half and make it just slightly smaller. So if I get my Disney ears, that should be it's just slightly smaller. And what you then do is concertina them up, because they're foams, they're easy to do, and pop them inside your ears, and that just gives them a little bit of firmness. Right, yep, that's okay. I'm actually going to take that one back out so I can use that one as my guide for my second one. That's good. Right, so these now are ready for stuffing. Exactly the same as before, but instead of stuffing obviously two separate halves and sticking together, I'm going to stuff either side of that foam. So there'll be a bit of stuffing either side. And then I will just glue them on like I did before. Exactly the same. It'll be exactly the same. I'll put the trim around the edge as I did before. And I will attach them to the ears exactly the same. So there isn't much difference really, except for the shape. It's easier to do the shape with the cardboard ones because you know exactly what you're sticking the material to. With this, it's a bit of a freehand with the sewing. I've always sewn before. And as I say, because this is sort of a foam which is it's a fairly, you know, I'm saying water resistant. It's a bit more sturdy, and you're obviously stitched rather than glued. I know they're glued onto the actual headband, but I just worry whether the cardboard ones will they if they get wet, will they just fall apart quicker? I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm not going to bore you with showing you how I stuff these and stick them on, because you've seen that. I'll come back to you when I've completely finished, and we'll look at the two next to each other. Right, so I'm done. I have finished both pairs. Slight change of plan. I didn't buy enough of this. A metre wasn't quite enough. I was literally about that much too short. So clearly to make 2 ears, I need slightly over a metre. So that was no good. So what I had was some black. So I've used, you can see on that one, I've used some black there. Oh look, that's Gary's elbow just coming in.
Is it? Check that out.
Look at this. He's bought me a cup of coffee.
Aficionado.
Lovely.
Grande espresso.
Anyway, I've basically put some black, obviously after you've finished doing this you need to go and pick off all these little bits of excess glue. I've put some black, and you can see that, trim around the edge, and I've done it around the base of the ears as well. Now, what did I think about the difference between making this one and this one? Other than obviously the trim and everything that's different, I think I prefer this black trim to this red trim. I think I actually preferred making them with the card because they were easier to attach to the headband. Once you've done the ears and you've padded them out, you can make them more padded when you make these ones, but the base isn't as sturdy, so they're harder to attach. So I've found that I've had to put trim round here because it's a bit of a glue fest. So there's the 2 pairs of ears, all done and dusted. I'll take my glasses off. There we go. There's the pair that were made on the sewing machine. The only difference is the actual ear part. That's the only thing that's different on a machine as to the card. And here are the card ones. What do you think? Obviously, as I said, they cost very little to make. If you do like I do and pick bits up as you go along, or whenever you see stuff, you will have a house full of it, like I do. But as I say, like the 2 headbands, they cost me £1 for the 2 headbands. So it's cost me 50p for the headband, £2.50 for the material, which has done 2, and I have got some spare. Not enough to make another pair of ears, but enough to do something with it. It cost me about £1 for the thread around the edge, but you do need slightly more. So I'd say you're probably going to spend about £1.50 or £1.25 to do 2 ears. The felt was 50p a sheet. I've done 2 ears out of it and I've got some scraps left over. And the velvet ribbon is an optional extra if you want to put that on the inside just to make it feel nice. I think that was about 50p a metre because it's very thin. So not very expensive to make 2 pairs of ears. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it's given you an insight into what to do with ears. And thank you for watching. Do all the usuals, all the, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you may see these in a future vlog in the Avengers campus. Pew, 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 pew. Take care everyone, see you soon, bye.